What's going on, folks? Cool. Sure, some of you are wondering, probably like, why the hell is this thing out again? I thought you just put it in. Well, it was leaking. It was leaking ever so slightly from the bottom, and I decided that before I go ahead and finish putting this thing together, that I should probably go ahead and pull it out and redo the seal. So that's what I'm doing. I tell you, this Permatex RTV, what a mess. So I've already got it pretty much cleaned up in most places, but I'm actually using some paint thinner to go ahead and actually dissolve it, and this seems to be working out pretty well. Sure, it's doing wonders for my skin. I should be wearing gloves, but I'm going to get this surface nice and clean, and then we're going to try it again. We're not going to do it with the red RTV though. My friend Chris gave me some black Permatex, and I have a paper gasket that I'm also going to use. But I just want to make sure this is all nice and clean before I go ahead and try to put anything else on here. So, that's what we're doing. Figure I haven't done a Facebook Live or a YouTube Live in a while, so why not? Sure, as some of you remember, I'm in Florida, and right now, parked out west is a pretty big hurricane, and we're not getting really anything here. We had a good rain band that came through earlier, but that's about it. And you see how well that the paint thinner is just removing this stuff. I'm gonna have to go through the inside here and give it a good cleaning before I button it up, just to make sure I didn't get any debris in here. On the actual planetary side, it's actually really clean. The Permatex apparently did not really stick, so I didn't really talk about this in any of my videos, but when I assembled this initially, I placed it on the floor on a mat, and it was it seemed like it was seeping, but I couldn't tell if it was actually from the diff or something that was on the mat previously that may have just kind of like had the oil kind of push up. And so what I did is I took the diff and I actually placed it on a nice clean chunk of cardboard, and I let it sit there, and I said, well, if this thing is going to leak, I'll see it on the cardboard. And I didn't, and I let it sit there for like 3 days. And so while it was sitting there, I kept on picking it up and moving it, and I didn't really ever see any leaks. So I figured that I was all made in the shade and I was good. Well, clearly that was not the case. So I had some time tonight and figured I would pull this guy out. Now, I had somebody hit me in the comments saying that I should do my homework, and well, they're right. I should do my homework. I'm learning as I go, though, on this. That's kind of the nature of the game. I'm an amateur. I've never done this stuff before. So that's kind of the fun of this whole project, is that I get to share my learning experience with you all. And this is most certainly a big learning experience. There's actually a fair bit of Permatex that made its way inside the housing here, and I'm glad I didn't run this thing, because if this broke off and got into the planetary, I could have really made a mess, especially in the bearings. So part of me is kind of happy that I'm doing this. Another part of me, though, is pretty disappointed that I'm doing this. Rightfully so. Got my AC unit running out here. It is still hot as hell. It's 88 degrees. So hey, if you're watching, drop me a line in the comments. See, someone's on there. I hope you're not doing the same thing I'm having to do here and reseal a diff tonight. Not exactly my idea of fun. So, if you're just joining, I installed this diff 2 weeks ago, and prior to installing it, I had done a test to see if it was leaking on some clean cardboard, and it wasn't. It seemed pretty good. So I installed it, and of course over the last couple of days, as I've been horsing around with the car, I would feel underneath the diff and I would feel wetness, and it was diff oil. So I decided that before I go ahead and I put the rest of the rear end together, that I should probably get this addressed. So that's what I'm doing. It bounced already too. I don't blame you. Watching someone clean a diff seal does not seem all that exciting. Want to make sure that these mating surfaces are nice and clean and that they are good to receive a new gasket. Hey, thanks for joining. Just cleaning up this mating surface on my differential because I had to remove it and put it back in because it was leaking ever so slightly, and I didn't really feel like dealing with a leaky diff, so I said, well, I got the car mainly apart, let's go ahead and replace the seal and get it right, because the first time I did it, I really messed it up. Drop me a message in the comments, say what's up, say hello. Can't see who's watching, can I? Nah, I can't. Hopefully wherever you're watching from is a lot cooler and drier than Florida. We have the hurricane parked off to the west. Here in Orlando, we're not really getting any weather, thankfully. It was kind of funny because 7 years ago, or 6 years ago, 2017, yeah, 6 years ago, I bought the Spitfire, and when I bought it, I tinkered around with it a little bit here and there, and within the first few weeks of having the Spitfire, we had a big Hurricane Irma, come through, and I have a picture, it's really kind of funny, of the car parked in the garage all the way up against the wall here, and then just covered in my wife's plants, because we had to bring everything in, and then yard furniture and all that crap. And so yeah, it's kind of funny. This is what happens this time of year, you know, late August, early September, we get all the hurricanes here. I ain't worried about it though. If you want to give me a good early birthday gift, my birthday's coming up early September. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I think about like 979. So hit the subscribe button if you like what you're watching. And if you've never been to the channel, welcome. I'm restoring a 1970 Triumph Spitfire. It's the first time I've ever restored a car. And on this journey, I've learned a lot. I've learned how to weld. I've learned important lessons about metalwork, patience, painting, all kinds of stuff. And with this being my first car, it's obviously not going to be the last that I restore. I plan on restoring a lot of other things, but I also want to build a car. That's something I've never really talked about on this channel, but I think once I'm done with the Spitfire, what I really want to do is I want to build a car. And I was kind of thinking about taking the Triumph Spitfire platform itself, go buy another one, maybe a GT6 that's just got a rotted body or something that's like already too far gone. And then I want to go ahead and build a special out of it. A special being like a speedster, single seater, center driver. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking I want to do once I finish up the Spitfire. And of course I plan on documenting that all on the channel, because I think that would be a pretty cool build. What do you think? Prior to getting into British sports cars, I was all about American muscle. I've had a number of Camaros in my time. I had a 1977 Z28, and I bought that for $400, like, I don't know, 2000 or something like that. And ended up doing an engine swap on it, and put in a custom exhaust, Hurst ratchet shifter. It was pretty cool. I like that car. I miss it. I miss it a lot. I gave it to a buddy of mine who put in as much effort as I did into building it, and the nice guy totaled it on me. So, tough lesson learned. There's a neighbor down the street though that has a '78 Camaro, and it's just sitting in his garage. Like, he's not using it. It's been sitting in the garage, parked in the same place for like 6 years. And I've been like, dude, what are you gonna do with the car? You're gonna sell it. And so I put a bug in his ear and saying that, you know, hey man, if you're gonna sell this thing, you should hit me up. I've been your neighbor. Hey, thanks, Jeff. Good to see you too. So I'm rebuilding the diff again. Well, I say rebuilding, but I'm resealing the diff. I had it installed and I noticed that it was seeping ever so slightly out of the bottom, and I couldn't do that. So here I am. I pulled it out, and it was a pain in the ass to put in, but I'll pull it out and reseal it. I'm using something different this time to reseal it. I have a actual paper gasket, but then I've also got a black Permatex that I'm going to use, and fingers crossed that seals this thing up really good. Did you put it? No, I didn't put a drain plug in. You know, and that's actually a really good thought, because I wasn't going to do that initially, but now that I got this thing cracked open, I think I might do that. You may have just cost me like $100. I appreciate that. It's actually a really, really good idea. I need to find a machine shop, because I kind of regretted not doing that when I first put this back together. And now this is the second time I've had to put it back together. I think I'm going to do that. So if you know of a machine shop in the Orlando area, let me know. But I don't have a drill press. Although my friend Chris does. I might be able to do it with him. I bet you he could do it. Pretty much just need to put like, what, a 1/4 inch plug in there or something? Is that about right? Just, well here, where is it? Well, oh, I put it back in the case. It's like the same kind of drain plug, right? Like that's on the side. It's a pretty smart idea. Just need a drill and a taper tap for, yeah, like 1/4 inch. Okay. I think I'm going to do that. Thank you for the reminder on that, because I honestly wasn't going to. But now that I've got it apart again and I've had enough people say, dude, put in a drain plug, I think I'm going to go ahead and I'll do that. I'll tell you though, when I drained this, it was really easy because I pulled it out of the car, of course, but I actually just took the fluid and I put it right back in here because, I mean, it's been turned just a handful of times, so. Have you had to do one yourself, Jeff? Like to put a drain plug in, did you do it just like with a hand drill, or did you get like a drill press to do it? I would imagine you'd want a drill press to keep it straight, right? I gotta tell you, I was not looking forward to cleaning that off, but let me wipe up some of the schmutz, because there's a bunch of schmutz in there. Thankfully, the planetary side is actually pretty good. You know, I've got my friend that's got the drill press. I think I'll probably just bring it to him. That just seems like a smart idea. You know, if you got it, I don't have a steady hand, and so having a drill press would probably be very beneficial. Otherwise, I would probably mess this thing up pretty good. Man, this RTV gets everywhere. Like it was in all kinds of nooks and crannies. I'm just trying to clear it out from some of the bolt holes because I don't want any kind of debris in there. Look at that, little tiny metal shard that was in there. All right. Oh. Yeah. Cool, Jeff. wooden restoration. It's nice to put a name to the channel. I've been following your channel for quite a while. In fact, I think that you're actually on my like suggested channel list. So it's good to meet you. All right. So I got that mainly cleaned up. Let's move on over to the other half. Ugh. Big bastard. Any of y'all dealing with the hurricane? Or is it just me? We only had one band of rain come through so far, so it's been actually pretty quiet, which is nice. I'm like in the middle of the state, not familiar with like geography of Florida. And the storm's way off to the west coast. It's going to make landfall in what's called like the Big Bend. Big Bend is up towards like Tallahassee and Gainesville and all that. So it's nowhere near me. Oof. Don't want to sweat into the diff. That wouldn't be good. This thinner that I'm using, by the way, I think it's the paint thinner from Master Series, and I'm pretty sure it's just xylene. It at least smells a lot like xylene. But man, this stuff worked really good for getting this RTV up. I thought I was going to try to be out here scraping at this, but just a little bit of xylene or this wood or paint thinner out here, and it's just taking it right up. So that's nice. Right. Well, cool. Well, that takes care of that mainly. Yeah, what's going on? So, let me show you and turn this thing around real quick. I think. Here we go. Alright, so here's the frame. I didn't really show this in my last video because I was kind of just filming it in a really chopped up manner, but I ended up putting in the rear shocks. Of course, obviously the rear diff, but that's now out, as you've seen. And so I just got to cinch these guys down once I get everything else done. I got a question. Maybe if any of you can give me a lead. On the underside of these cross members, there's supposed to be like a metal block that's supposed to have threaded holes in it for mounting the tub. If you have any idea where I can get some of those, let me know, because I can't seem to find them anywhere. And got my greased trunnions, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. And, no rain, dry as a bone out there, so. Anyways, I think that's about where we're going to wrap it up. Now that Jeff has given me a really good thought about getting that plug put in, I think I'm going to go ahead and just stop for now and talk to my buddy Chris and see if we can get his drill press this weekend and put a plug in that. So, anyways, thanks for tuning in. If you like what you saw tonight and you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 1,000 for my birthday in September, so I can try to get measurements if you want next time I'm out here. Yeah, I mean, hey, if you've got, if you have them, that's cool. I would love to know what the measurements are. Honestly, I think you're right, though. I could probably just try to get a big chunk of stock steel. I don't know what the thickness is. If you can give me a thickness on it, I can make it. I mean, I got the tap and die set. I should be able to do that, so. Anyways, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate it. Hope you all have a good night. If you're on the path of the hurricane, stay safe. And I'll get some video content put out in another week or so. And we'll talk to you all later. Cheers.